Hey everyone, how's it going? I hope y'all are having a really great day. I am again in my kitchen, sitting down on the ground, and I'm drinking a Soylent. This is my breakfast. It's a cacao flavored Soylent. It's so good. And I thought today would be the perfect day to talk about mental health. So I'm filming this on a Monday, and today I'm actually taking a mental health day. And so I thought, what better day to sit down and like film a video and talk about mental health with you all than today. So I'm gonna try to keep this fairly short. I don't really have much of a plan on how I want to make this video, but I just want to kind of talk to you all like a friend would talk to you if we were at a cafe or something and sitting down and talking about mental health. I think it's really important to continue the conversation of mental health, and I made a few notes on my phone, so I might be referring to that just so I don't forget to say anything. But for the most part, I just wanted to give you all an update on my mental health journey. I've made some videos in the past about anxiety and panic attacks, which is the main thing that I deal with. But I think it's important to, like I said, continue the conversation and give you all an update on how I'm doing and maybe if I've learned anything, if I can give any advice, that kind of thing. So right now I bumped up going to therapy from once a week to twice a week, and funnily enough this week I'm going 3 times a week because I really need therapy. I think therapy is so invaluable. I know that not everyone can afford it. Thankfully my insurance pays for most of it and I just have to pay a copay. But honestly, going to therapy is incredible. I've learned that it's really difficult to will yourself to think differently or to have healthier thoughts or healthier habits. But it's really helpful to have someone like a therapist to kind of guide you through that thought process. So I currently struggle with, I have general anxiety, panic disorder, PTSD. I've recently learned that I have a lot of dissociation that I experience. And what else? There's just a lot. I get depressed a lot as well. Anxiety and depression go hand in hand. There's just a lot of things that are not right in my mind, you know. But it's always important to understand that we are not our anxieties. We're so much more than that. We're not our depression. We're so much more than that. I will say though that it's really difficult to manage a lifestyle of working a full-time job and then also going to therapy twice a week and then trying to sleep well, eat healthy, work out, have a social life, connect with the world, do your hobbies, etc. I find it really difficult. Recently I went on a trip to Asia. I don't know if you all saw the vlogs, but it was a really fun trip. But one thing that I didn't mention whenever we did the sit-down talks of the sit-down parts of the videos is that I had the worst panic attack, probably the worst panic attack of my life in Japan. And that was really traumatic. It was like a 5-hour panic attack. And I honestly thought that I was going to die. And it was a panic attack in public, so everyone could see me experiencing it, and it was so horrible. I had never felt like my body was shutting down before so much. Like I felt like my organs were starting to fail. I couldn't feel my body, not like in a numbness, but more like it was, blood was not flowing anymore. And I feel like that dread of like I'm going to die a lot, but this was one of the few times that I actually felt like it was going to happen. Well, actually most of the time I feel like it's gonna happen, but this time it was like, it felt more real than it had in the past. So it was really terrifying. And that's just a reality of having mental health issues. A year ago, I wasn't working and I didn't think I was ever gonna work because 2 years ago, you know, I graduated from university. I got a full-time job in a different city. Turns out I couldn't handle it, so I quit after a month because I was in a new city without a support system and I was experiencing really horrible panic attacks. So then I had to quit and I moved to Seattle and I didn't have a job for about a year. And that was really hard on me. I think as humans, we identify so strongly with what we do in life, whether that be a job or whatever it is that we're passionate about. And so when we don't have that, it can really break apart our identity and like our self-confidence. And it was really tough for me to not have the finances that I needed coming in to have that stability. And thankfully now I have a job, and Chris has been the greatest support system on the planet. Like, he's the best boyfriend, the best friend, and the best everything. But even with that stability, it's still really hard to then manage having a full-time job. And I remember like 2 years ago, I had to go to the emergency room because of a panic attack. You know, I was at the lowest of the low. And now I still experience those low moments all the time, especially after this winter. So Seattle's like 6 months of darkness in the winter, like darkness and rain. And it was really hard on my mental health to feel like there was dread inside me. And then like the weather was also dreary. And yeah, it's just a lot to balance. I think another thing that makes it really difficult to battle with mental health issues is that there's so many misconceptions, and I hardly feel like I can talk to anyone about what's going on. Sometimes this happens a lot actually, but let's say I'm around friends or something and I have a panic attack, and then I'm not saying anything, so I'm just enduring my panic attack and no one can really tell. I'm really good about like concealing it, which probably isn't the best thing ever, but I really try to conceal it, especially if we're in public places. And then once we get back to like a safe space, I'll be like, oh, I just had a panic attack, thank goodness it's over, or I'm feeling a little bit better. And people's first response is usually, oh my gosh, I didn't even notice. And that's about it. And they're like kicking themselves for not noticing. But that always makes me feel bad, because it's like no one ever asks, are you okay? And I think that's so strange. Like I just said, I was having a panic attack and I was feeling really bad, and no one asks, are you okay? They're more shocked that they didn't even realize that I was having a panic attack. Yeah, it's really difficult to have conversations with people. I've been sent things like articles on breathing techniques. I've been told that I need to be less nervous, or that everyone gets nervous, or stuff like that. And it's just, that's not really the point of why I have panic attacks. I know that breathing techniques can help, but they don't really help people with panic attacks, right? They don't really help in the moment. More than anything, therapy is helping, because what I've learned is that a lot of mental health issues are rooted in other things, and it's important to go to therapy, because then they'll get to the root of the problem and then try to untangle that so that you can better understand the root of why you have anxiety or depression or whatnot. And then from there, kind of like unravel the unhealthy habits that you have, so that you can create healthier habits, healthier ways of thinking, healthier ways of approaching life's challenges. My anxiety is rooted in basically 2 decades worth of many experiences of trauma, especially like childhood trauma. I don't talk about this openly a lot, but I've had really horrible experiences, and my mind has been traumatized in many ways, and wired in a way that's really unhealthy about how I view the world, how I view others, how I view myself. And at first I felt, while going to therapy, I felt like, okay, this is the root of my problem, and once I get to the root, I'll understand everything a bit better, and maybe my anxiety and depression and whatnot will go away a bit. But what I realized is that there's a root to the problem, but then it's more like a web. That problem has affected me in so many ways that I didn't even realize. And so I'm having to untangle all of it, and it can be really overwhelming. And you know, it's a really hard process. The healing process is a really long and hard process, and many times I don't have a lot of hope that I'll ever get better, and some days I feel perfectly fine. That's another thing with anxiety and panic attacks and depression and mental health issues. I may seem really happy on the outside, and I could be really happy in some moments. Like for example, right now I'm filming, but I'm only going to film on days that I feel quite happy or content. There are many times that I don't feel good, But a lot of people don't see those moments, and it's usually the moments that I cancel on plans, or I just stay home, or I just can't do much. I can't really function that much. I think it's important to continue the conversation of mental health because I think we all need a reminder that we need to focus on self-care. And that doesn't mean always like taking a bath or going for a walk or eating your favorite food. I think a lot of what self-care means and what I'm learning is that it means forgiving yourself for little things, just loving who you are and loving the fact that you are imperfect, and we all are imperfect humans, but that's what makes us so incredible. And I know that a lot of these things are easier said than done, which is why I think therapy is really good, because it teaches you how to actually say like, okay, I want to love myself more, and then therapy teaches you how to do that rather than trying to will yourself like, I will love myself more, and then the anxieties are still there. I think it's really important to also prioritize the basics when it comes to having mental health issues, like making sure that you're trying your best to sleep and eat healthy and work out if you can, stay active. And I think it's important that we are vulnerable. I know it's so difficult to be vulnerable, and one of the reasons I think mental health issues, like there's so much of a stigma around mental health, is that we don't talk enough about mental health. I feel like people might be open with maybe their partner or their best friend about the mental health issues that they're having, but I don't think that we talk about it enough with people that we're not super close to, people that don't live under the same roof. I think it's important to talk about mental health with your friends and your family because it kind of gets rid of the stigma, and it also allows people to understand, especially now in the age of social media where it looks like everyone's having a perfect life. It's important to connect with people and be like, you know what, I have my down days, and actually I was quite depressed this winter, or this and this happened and it was really horrible, but I didn't talk to anyone about it. And so it kind of allows us to connect as humans more when we talk about the hardships that we've had. I'm getting emotional. I've had a really hard time having anxiety and panic attacks. I mean, I've had anxiety and panic attacks now for 8 years, and that's a really long time. And it's just like so many emotions every day, every week, that are really heavy to deal with. And I think that's why it's so important to have a strong support system and to be open to seek help from people, especially people in that are health professionals like therapists. I think it's also important, like I said, to maintain this conversation alive, because we need to connect as humans and let others know that it's okay to not be okay, that we all struggle, that life is challenging, but there are also really beautiful moments all mixed in, and that we can get better. And I hope that this video has helped you. If you're going through something, maybe helped you feel less alone and more connected to people that are also going through things like myself. I want you to know that we all struggle, we all have our dark moments, and I have many dark moments where I just don't think I'm going to live very long, because my health is so bad. And that's another thing with mental health. It not only affects your mind, it affects your physical body, and so it can be quite crippling. But I don't know, it's all cyclical. We have highs and lows, and hopefully after a low we'll experience a high where we're feeling a bit more happy, a bit more content, a bit more calm, a bit more at peace. Again, I didn't really have much of a plan for this video. It's kind of all over the place, but like I said, I just wanted to talk to you all as a friend, as if we were together at a coffee shop and just catching up and talking about mental health. I hope that you all have a lovely rest of your day and your week. Don't forget to take care of yourself and love who you are, and know that you're not alone and that you are loved by so many. Again, I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you on my next video. Bye!